very good evening and welcome to Prime TV News. I'm Ishara Nautunda. Let's take a look at your headlines first. Several new ministers take oaths. President focuses attention on progress in development in the north and east. Britain assures continued assistance to Sri Lanka. Minister SB is the chief government whip. Tax Appeals Commission is activated. US President punishes CNN reporter. And now for your news in detail. More ministers were sworn in before President Maithripala Sirisena. The swearing-in took place at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. Susil Premajayantha took oaths as Minister of Public Administration, Home Affairs and Justice. Bandula Gunawardena was sworn in as Minister of International Trade and Investment Promotion. S.M. Chandrasena took oaths as State Minister of Social Empowerment. Lakshman Vasantha Pereira was sworn in as State Minister International Trade and Investment Promotion. Salinda Disanayake took oaths as State Minister of Indigenous Medicine. C.B. Ratnayake took oaths as State Minister of Transport. Honorary Priyadarshana Yapa took oaths as State Minister for Finance before the President. Secretaries have been appointed for several ministries. Accordingly, J.J. Ratnasiri has been appointed as Secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration, Home Affairs and Justice. He received his letter of appointment from the President. S.G. Kodikara has been appointed as Secretary to the Ministry of International Trade and Investment Promotion. R.W.R. Premasiri received his letter of appointment as Secretary to Ministry of Highways and Road Development from the President. A special presidential task force appointed by the President for the development of the North and East met today for the fourth time under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena. It was operative actively in the northern and eastern provinces within the last 2 months. The President expressed his satisfaction over the progress it has achieved. The President appointed this special presidential task force in August this year to immediately make prosperous civilian life in the north and east that suffered setbacks during the long period of war. This task force met today for the fourth occasion. The task force is looking into the progress of development projects operative in the northern and eastern provinces. It also draws up plans with respect to new projects that should be further implemented. The new development projects are operative considering the priority needs and targeting individual groups. The President said that the new program would be implemented with strength in the future. In this context, the President called on all factions to be collective in fulfilling their responsibilities. Attention was drawn to streamlining the drinking water supply projects in the north and east and immediate programs that should be mooted in this respect. Provincial governors presented issues that had cropped with regard to development and information on the needs of the people. It was revealed that 79.1% of state islands, which were under the security forces in the north and east, and 90.2% of private lands had been released. There were schools including the Nadeshwara Vidyalaya and economic hubs such as the My Lady Fisheries Harbour among such released lands. Special attention was directed to road development programs mooted in these areas. The progress in the reconstruction of the Madhu Sacred Area as well as more special development projects, including the Elephant Sultan, was also considered. The British government had not withdrawn any funding to Sri Lanka due to human rights concerns between 2016 and 2019. This has been mentioned by State Minister for Asia and the Pacific, Mark Field. In response to a question by Shadow Foreign Secretary Emily Thornberry, the State Minister said they were committed to supporting the rebuilding of Sri Lanka following its long civil conflict. He said all funding provided to Sri Lanka through the Conflict Stability and Security Fund is designed to support reconciliation, the rule of law and improved human rights, and that they are committed to supporting the rebuilding of the country following its long civil conflict. He referred to the announcement of an additional £1 million funding through the Conflict Stability and Security Fund to support the resettlement of families displaced by war in the north and east of Sri Lanka in August. He said that in total, the United Kingdom is providing Sri Lanka with £7.9 million of conflict, stability and security funding over 3 years, including support for police reform, reconciliation and peace building and demining in the north of the country. Chief Government Whip Minister S.P. Dissanayake has said that they will not go for a parliamentary election at this juncture. He was addressing a Sri Lanka Freedom Party news conference today. The minister said that they could fulfill the summoning of the provincial councils within 2 months. Ranil Wickremesinghe has been willfully postponing the provincial council elections. He said that the new Prime Minister and the President would soon hold the provincial council elections. This would be their first task. The second task is to face a presidential election at the end of next year. 7 months thereafter, they would decide on a general election. As such, they will not go for a parliamentary election. He said that they will also not go for a referendum. Parliamentarians Dilan Pereira and Thilanga Sumathipala also expressed their views at the news conference held at the Sri Lanka Freedom Party head office. Expressing his views, Dilan Pereira said that Minister S.P. Dissanayake has been appointed as the chief government whip. Thilanga Sumathipala said that they call for a no-confidence motion against Mahinda Rajapaksa and then defeat him. Thereafter, he would take a decision and resign. As they cannot move a no-confidence motion against Mahinda Rajapaksa, the Speaker is using his chair to put the legislature and the executive into a chaotic situation. Attempts are being made to repeat what happened in 1983. He said that they have a majority, but they are calling to follow a legal method for this process. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, as Minister of Finance, has taken initiatives to activate the Tax Appeals Commission. Accordingly, Judge Hector Yapa has been appointed as the chairman of the Tax Commission. The other members are Judge Sunil Rajapaksa and former Auditor General S. Swarnajyothi. Any taxpayer who is encountering any problems can soon get them sorted out with the establishment of the Tax Commission. Also, any grievances with respect to a certain tax that had to be paid or any payment could be directed to the Appeals Commission. The Commission will be empowered to amend the Inland Revenue Department or the Department of Customs on the basis of these appeals. 224 appeals forwarded by taxpayers are so far lying with the Commission without being sorted out. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs says that solutions could be found to these issues by reactivating the Commission. Pavitra Vanyarachi, who has been appointed as State Minister of Petroleum Resources Development, has said that the fuel price formula will not be implemented. Pavitra Vanyarachi made this disclosure while assuming office in her new ministerial portfolio in the ministry at Flower Road in Colombo 7. The new state minister assumed duties amidst the blessings of the members at the Mahasangha led by Venerable Muruthetwe Anandathera. Expressing her views on the occasion, State Minister Pavitra Vanyarachi said that wastage has taken place at the ministry to a certain extent. She said she believes that this wastage could be eliminated. She said that the price of fuel can be reduced to a large extent if crude oil is imported to the country and refined. As such, the capacity of the Sapugaskande refinery should be increased in stages and modernized with advanced technology in the world. She was optimistic that by doing so, they would be able to go for a price reduction within the next few years. She mentioned that Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa had said that the price formula will not be operative. They plan to effect an active management to the facts regarding the fuel prices. A complaint has been lodged with the Inspector General of Police over the non-vacation of temple trees by former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The complaint was handed over today by the Ministerial Secretaries Union. A request has been made to enforce the law against the former Prime Minister due to the misuse of public property. Officials of the Ministerial Secretaries Union expressed views to the media after handing over the complaint to the IGP. General Secretary of the Union Ajit Jaisundar said that the former Prime Minister is still staying at Temple Trees and misusing public property after being removed from office. It is also the same with Arjuna Ranatunga. He had visited the office of his ministry and misused public property. Even former Minister Patali Champika Ranavaka has been misusing public property. He has said that they had come over to hand over this complaint to the police over the misuse of this public property, demanding the enforcement of law against them. Co-President of the Union, Kirtisri Veer Singha, mentioned that United National Party parliamentarians were still misusing public property. Parties are being held daily at Temple Trees using alcohol. Government funds are being used to purchase diesel and petrol and using public vehicles. He said they were requesting the Inspector General of Police to be active immediately to halt these undue activities. The Supreme Court today dismissed the appeals petition filed by former Chief Minister of the Northern Province, C.V. Vigneswaran. In addition, there is information on more court cases taken up for hearing today. C.V. Vigneswaran had filed this petition challenging the appeals court order validating the continued serving of B. Danishwaran as the Fisheries and Transport Minister of the Northern Province. The three-judge panel headed by Judge Priyantha Jayawardena rejected this appeals petition. The case filed against 7 defendants, including Samara Pullige Niraj Roshan alias Ali Roshan, on allegations of possessing elephants sans a permit, was again taken up for hearing today. It was heard in the Permanent High Court at Ba. It is due to be taken up for hearing on the 28th of this month to inquire into whether the defendants had received the needed documents from the complainant's party. The Attorney General has filed this case against the 7 defendants, including Ali Roshan. Perpetual Treasuries Limited owner Arjun Aloysius and CEO Kasun Palisena have been further remanded until 21st of this month by the Colombo Ford Magistrate. The Colombo Ford Magistrates Court on February 2nd named former Central Bank Governor Arjun Mahendran, his son-in-law Arjun Aloysius, and Perpetual Treasury CEO Kasun Palisena as suspects in the CID's investigation into the bond scam. The Criminal Investigations Department filed its first B report in court over the investigation into the controversial issuance of Treasury bonds and cited the aforementioned names as suspects. The Department of Meteorology says that the low-pressure area is now located over the Indian coastal region of Cape Comorin and the adjoining Sri Lankan Sea area. The prevailing showery and cloudy condition over the island and surrounding sea areas is likely to continue within the next 48 hours under the influence of the low-pressure system. The public as well as the naval and fishing communities are requested to be attentive about advisories issued by the Department of Meteorology in this respect. Issuing a special weather advisory, the department warned that very heavy rainfall of above 150 millimeters can be expected at some places in northern and eastern provinces, and heavy falls of about 100 millimeters can be expected at some places elsewhere. Wind speed will be 30 to 40 kilometers per hour over sea areas around the island, and rough at times as the wind speed can increase up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour at times over the deep sea area extending from Kankasantharai to Galle via Puttalam. Temporarily strong gusty winds of up to 70 to 80 kilometers per hour and rough seas can be expected during thunder showers. The sea condition is expected to be rough over sea areas off the coast extending from Trincomalee to Puttalam via Kankasantharai and over the deep sea area extending from Puttalam to Galle via Colombo. Meanwhile, the Disaster Management Centre has announced that continued relief is being provided to those who have been impacted by floods. The Colombo-Batticaloa rail track has been damaged due to the breach of the dam of the Punani tank in Valikanda following the torrential rain. It has paralysed the operation of trains along the Polonnaruwa-Batticaloa track. There is a hole about 15 feet deep near the Punani railway station. Repairs are being effected despite the rain, while railway employees claim that the operation of trains may return to normality by this evening. Anuradhapura District Irrigation Director Prasanna De Silva said more than 30 tanks in the Anuradhapura district are overflowing. Among them are 6 large-scale tanks. The people have been advised to be cautious since spill gates of many tanks have been opened. Part of the Norelia-Hatton main road and part of the Nawalapitia town are underwater following the torrential rain experienced in the central hills. This has caused obstructions to the movement of traffic. The police have advised motorists to be cautious when driving their vehicles. About 500 meters from the Nawalapitia bus stand towards Gampola up to the Sripada Pirivena is inundated. Even the Alikota Ara reservoir in Badulla, coming under the Uma-Oya project, is filled with water for the first time. Irrigation officials said that this would give them an opportunity to examine any shortcomings, as it is a reservoir being newly established. At the same time, the people living in low-lying areas are warned to be on alert, as it is the first time that the reservoir is overflowing. The Nandikada Lagoon area has been declared as a wildlife conservation zone. The Nandikada Lagoon is known to the people of this country as the last area of the LTT terrorist leader Velipule Prabhakaran. Several years had passed since the routing of the LTT terrorist outfit from the country. This location has now become the focus of the local as well as foreign visitors as a special environment network. The area has received a high value because of the many birds and wild animals. The Wildlife Conservation Department has declared the Nandikada Lagoon as a wildlife conservation area with the intention of protecting the site. A person has been taken into custody at the Katunayake International Airport with a haul of gems worth more than 1.5 million rupees. A resident of Beruwela who had come to the airport to leave for Malaysia in a UL 318 flight in the early hours of today was arrested in this manner. Katunayake Deputy Customs Director Vipula Minuan Pitia said that a fine of 50,000 rupees was imposed on the suspect and the gems confiscated. That's all we have for you today. Visit itnews.lk for more information. I'm Ishara Nautula. Good night.